Hello and welcome to another episode of What Travis Says. My name is Travis and let's talk about Doctor Who. More specifically, the streaming service BritBox. Now when you hear the term streaming services, most of you probably think of Netflix, two of you probably think of Hulu, but there's also Crunchyroll, Vudu, Yahoo View, which I didn't even know was a thing. Disney has Disney Plus, the DC Universe has the DC Universe, but there's a streaming service for British programming which you may or may not have heard of before this video called BritBox. Now, by the name BritBox, you're probably thinking, okay, this is a streaming service for Brits, hence the name. Well, no, that's not exactly it. That's not exactly it at all. BritBox was officially launched in March of 2017, 2 years ago. And for the past 2 years, the service area has been for Canada and the United States. The Brits are unable to watch BritBox. When it debuted in 2017, BritBox was able to stream classic shows like Merlin, Doctor Who, and Hetty Winthrop Investigates. And BritBox currently hosts the largest collection of classic Doctor Who episodes anywhere. Remember when Netflix and Hulu and even Amazon had the ability to stream classic episodes of Doctor Who? Well, following those contracts expiring, BritBox is now the exclusive location to stream episodes of classic Who. In September of 2017, BritBox even released a reconstruction of the classic Doctor Who episode The Wheel in Space. Featuring the second Doctor in a mostly missing 6-part episode, BritBox brought it back. BritBox brought it back. BritBox brought it back. Using telesnaps and the 2 surviving episodes, BritBox spliced it together and sort of completed the episode and released it on BritBox before the Brits could even see it. That's kinda weird, right? But not to fear, a recent announcement between the BBC and ITV promises to bring BritBox to the UK. Sometime in the second half of 2019, the Brits will finally be able to watch BritBox. The Brits will be able to watch their own British programming, which makes a little more sense. As cool and as obviously practical as that sounds with a name like BritBox, there was some hesitation about the details of the situation. We've talked a little bit before about the television licensing fee that the viewers on the UK side of the pond have to pay for their television. We Americans don't have to pay a television licensing fee because we get commercials shoved down our throat. Brought to you by the Roast Beef McWhopper. But the BBC has already clarified that no, the licensing fee over there will not pay for BritBox. That is an additional fee. But there was a very interesting part about the BBC announcement that sort of stuck out to me and sort of piqued my interest about this whole BritBox thing. Sure, they'll have classic British programming, but in the announcement that the BBC and ITV made, they were talking about original programming being added to the slate of shows. Now, this original content could be variety or talk shows, or possibly a docu-series, but it could be an original comedy or drama series, or even an original film in the same vein as Netflix and Hulu. And I read an article about the idea of premiering new episodes of Doctor Who on BritBox to get people to subscribe to that service, but that is sort of a strange mixed bag. On the one hand, that's a substantially lower viewer count than you would have just airing it on television. But on the other hand, the BBC would get more funding for that specific show from a subscription service instead of just relying on merchandising. What I think has a slightly better chance of happening though is once this whole BritBox thing gets rolling over there in the UK and the BBC has a little more hand in the original content, we might possibly see a spin-off Doctor Who show on BritBox. A show that only the subscribers of BritBox would be able to watch. Think of it kind of like Torchwood, but the same way that Daredevil was connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you had to watch Daredevil on Netflix in order to get that complete story. Now, the Marvel series on Netflix aren't a fantastic example because they weren't as intricately connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's sort of the same way that Torchwood kind of did its own thing and Doctor Who did its own thing. They just existed in the same universe. The same thing with the Sarah Jane Adventures. It exists in that Doctor Who universe and there are connections, but maybe the BBC could make this a little more connected to drive more viewers to BritBox. So in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on BritBox. What do you think is going to happen with their original content? And do you think possibly new episodes of Doctor Who should be put on BritBox? Or you could have episodes of Doctor Who premiering on BritBox and then a week later being shown on BBC One. That way everyone eventually gets to watch within a week's time, but you get more of a priority if you're subscribed to BritBox. But as always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me tomorrow.